you said you'd never drive a minivan, much less own one. But I assure you, you want to own one of these. This is a 1994 Mitsubishi Delica Starwagon. Forget everything you think you know about your grandpa's old Grand Caravan or that lady down the street with 7 kids, the soccer mom and her Honda Odyssey. This is a minivan that can go anywhere, do anything, and makes you feel like Mad Max doing it all. For starters, this version has a 2.5 diesel engine. Next, it's shift on the fly, rear wheel to 4-wheel drive with 4 low and 4 high ranges. And look at this ground clearance. We're gonna have some fun in this today. And I know what you're saying. You don't like vans because they're big. And this is a big van, right? How big does it look like now? You can fit 7 and 8 passengers in something the size of a Corvette. The Starwagons came in 7-passenger form with captain's chairs, or 8-passenger with a center bench. Now with captain's chairs, you get to go forward and back, but you also have this nifty party trick. So you can face. Both the seats go down, and many people choose to actually take everything out and put a bed back here. But wait, we're not done. We got great cabin lighting with this overhead fluorescent system. But even better, we have in this one the crystal light roof with power sunshades. So the heart of this beast is this 2.5 liter diesel unit. It's turbo diesel, so it's got plenty of grunt, both in low and mid range. And as you can see, you're sitting on it. And it's really loud when the cover's open. But check this out. With it down, is basically no different than having the engine right in front of you. The thing about owning a Delica is you're gonna go out of your way to look for things to be off-road. Every yard, every incline becomes your own personal playground. But once you're out on the wide open road, it's still a real pleasurable rig to drive. Now I happen to prefer the 5-speed, but the automatic is just as good. So what makes the Delica so enjoyable? Well, it's luxurious, and pretty much anybody can get comfortable. You got seats that go back and forth, up and down, adjustable lumbar support. You got a tilt steering wheel, air conditioning, nice sunroof, and even with these wide knobby tires, it's really not that loud in here. Okay, the things that everybody asks about these vehicles. First, what's the gas mileage, or in this case, the diesel mileage? I like to tell people your mileage may vary, because from the factory, they're rated in the 30s. In terrain that is relatively flat, you'll get that. Probably 31, 32. But if you live in a hilly area like the Pacific Northwest or the mountains, people see more low 20s. The other question people ask is, what's the top speed? have heard people driving these at length for an extended period of time at 85 miles an hour in Europe. Now, I have driven these at 60 and they're fine. 65, fine. Above 65, they start to get a little bouncy. It doesn't take long driving this thing on a winding road before you realize that it's really rewarding. And this is not a boring minivan. You're sitting right on the front wheels, so your sense of speed is pretty huge. And then when you get into the corners, it just kind of hunkers down, and you can feel where the wheels are going, which is not often the case in a vehicle with big off-road tires. Shifting on this is pretty good. Third gear, like a lot of JDM cars, you need patience to make sure it centers, because third is actually a little canted towards the driver. If you try to do it a little too quickly, you wind up searching for it. But otherwise, it works really nicely. So in any discussion about the Mitsubishi Delica, inevitably, I'm going to get asked, how does it compare to the Toyota Town Ace and the Toyota Light Ace, which are basically the twins from Toyota that compete directly against the Delica in the 7 and 8 passenger turbo diesel van. So here's how it boils down. The Toyota and the Mitsubishi do the same things and do them pretty identically. Both have turbo diesel options, both have four-wheel drive options, captain's chairs or middle row bench. So how do they differ? Very specific ways. First, the Mitsubishi has automatic locking hubs. The Toyota chooses to go with the manual locking hub. So when you put it into four-wheel drive, you gotta stop, get out, and turn the hubs on each front wheel. And the same when you disengage. Secondly, the Mitsubishi, in my opinion, just looks better. So people often get a little confused by all of the different names that go along with a Delica. So let's cut through the confusion. The platform for these is called the L300. So it's a Mitsubishi L300 Delica being the model, Starwagon, meaning that is the designation for a passenger versus a cargo vehicle. And then you have different trim levels. The GLX, the Exceed, which is this one, the Super Exceed, the Chamonix. So what's the difference between all those trim levels? Not a whole heck of a lot. The difference between a Super Exceed and an Exceed like this one is a Super Exceed has Super Exceed written on the backrest, and the bully bar in front and the bar in rear, those are chromed. Other than that, not much difference. The Chamonix, I've had one of those before, that's their ski version, like their limited ski version. And it came with a roof rack. Otherwise, there were tons of options that were available at pretty much any trim level. For instance, the Crystal Light roof. So if you want to be a part of the Delica Club of the Northwest, or of Canada, or of England, or of New York, they're out there just waiting for you to join. And yes, if you have a Toyota Light Ace or Town Ace, you can join too. They're happy to have you. But people are just a little bit more, shall we say, crazy about the Delicas. And that includes me.